I was practically driven to Rome in order to obtain the opportunities for art culture and to find social atmosphere where I was not consistently reminded of my color. Some praise me because I am a colored girl, and I don't want that kind of praise. I had rather you would point out my defects, for that will teach me something.
The 2022 Black Heritage Stamp honors the brilliant 19th century sculptor Edmonia Lewis. While some details of her early life are uncertain, we know Lewis was born in the early 1840s. Her mother belonged to a Native American tribe in upstate New York, and it's believed her father was from Haiti. Lewis overcame many difficult challenges due to widespread prejudice based on her gender, race, and class.
Edmonia Lewis is the most unusual African-American visual artist in U.S. history. Both of her parents died when she was a child, so she was raised by her mother's relatives who were Ojibwe, Native American. And then her brother paid for her to go to college when she was about 16. But at college, even though Oberlin was the first co-ed and the first interracial college in the country, she was discriminated against. She was accused of attempting to poison her roommates. There was absolutely no evidence against her, so she was acquitted. During the time when they were waiting for the trial, she was abducted, kidnapped, beaten nearly to death by local citizens, and no one was ever caught. Imagine living through that and then still wanting to become a sculptor.
After she was exonerated at Oberlin, she made her way to Boston. She trained under the sculptor Edward Brackett. Finally, she made a plaster bust of Robert Gould Shaw, and she used the proceeds from the sale, along with the money that her brother Samuel sent, to make her way to Italy.
Lewis soon enjoyed success and was among the first Black sculptors to achieve widespread acclaim. She left for Europe and eventually opened her own studio in Rome in 1866. Today, several of her most noteworthy works are on display at the Smithsonian American Art Museum in Washington, D.C. They include Old Arrow Maker, which depicts Native American characters from the Henry Wadsworth Longfellow poem, Song of Hiawatha. And her greatest neoclassical masterpiece, The Death of Cleopatra, which was created for the United States Centennial in 1876. Made of more than 3,000 pounds of Carrara marble, the depiction of the Egyptian queen at the time of her death was hailed as the most impressive American sculpture at the Centennial.
Eventually, it sold to a gambler, John Condon, who had a racehorse named Cleopatra. And he bought the sculpture for his dearly departed racehorse. And he placed the sculpture over the horse's grave. And so for a while, the sculpture occupied a saloon, and then a racetrack, and then a golf course. And then it went into storage. Eventually, it was discovered by Marilyn Richardson.
I was able to go out to Illinois and see it. It was in the storage space of a shopping mall, and it's an extraordinary moment. Some of the most vivid material we have has to do with letters that people wrote about her, because the Postal Service of her day, both domestic and international, plays a major part in what we know about her. So a stamp with her picture on it and her name on it, it seems like a very nice nod to the past. She was a master of publicity and of business and salesmanship. She did it all. She was a woman of color in the 1860s, 70s, 80s, 90s, who made her living 100% as a creative artist. And that was without precedent.
The field of art, which is what makes Edmonia Lewis so important as part of this heritage series, was limited almost exclusively to men of any race. Here we have a woman who is creating figure sculptures, some of them almost life-size, in stone. And she became more famous than almost any other American artist of the time. And somehow, despite her rarity, her uniqueness, very few people know about her. So for the post office to make a decision to include someone who deservedly belongs in this group, this is really, really special.
The stamp artwork is a portrait of Lewis by Alex Bostic, based on a photograph by Augustus Marshall taken between 1864 and 1871. Because this is a forever stamp, it will always be equal in value to the current first-class mail 1 ounce price, which means it will always be perfect for your cards and letters. The stamp is available now at USPS.com and post offices nationwide. We are proud to present the 45th Black Heritage Stamp honoring Edmonia Lewis.